So part A, you wanted acceleration. What should you have done? Hopefully we all got it. Okay, so you would have put v prime of 3, and then you got 5.467, and it should have been negative. Okay, that was only plus 1 point. So pretty straightforward. You had velocity, you wanted acceleration, take the derivative, done. Okay, part B, you would have gotten 2 points. Okay, 1 for the setup, and then 1 for the right answer. So this is your setup, this is your answer. That's all you had to do. So integral 0 to 3, absolute value velocity, and then 1.702, that's what you should have gotten. Okay?
Did you actually put the equation?
Of course, yes. So if you did this 0 to 3 absolute value, sine t squared dt, that would have been fine, but you did have to have the absolute value bars. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't have gotten it. Okay, and then we got 1.702. Okay, so that would have been worth 2 points. 1 for the setup, 1 for the answer. Now, if you only put the answer, do you get both points? No. In the calculator? Sure. So there are 2 places that you can pull it up. So the first one, math 9, 0 to 3. Okay, you can go into math and go over to number over 1, and it's ABS right there. And it'll pull up the bars. The other way that you can do it is to go into alpha window, and there's a shortcut, ABS, right there. So either one of those will pull up the absolute value bars. So math 9, 0 to 3, then alpha window, absolute value, alpha trace, y1 dx. Oops, I put it in the wrong spot. And then that's where your answer would come from for that. Okay, so part C was worth 3 points. Part C was worth 3 points. You should have set up a version B. Okay, 1.702, that's your answer for part B. So when do I want the position? When do I have the position? 0. And then I have to integrate from what I have to what I want. Now, you can't leave this blank. What goes in here if these are position? Or you could have just written velocity, but either one is fine. Now, question, can I reuse the integral from 0 to 3 from part B? No, because I don't have bars around it anymore. Those were taken off. So you should have gotten for your answer 5.773. So x of 0 was 5. So I would have done 5 plus math 9, 0 to 3, alpha trace y1 dx, just like that. And that's where you get the 5.77. Now you could have done the integral separately and then just added 5 to it. That would have been fine as well. Okay, so here's where your points were. You got 1 for remembering x of 0. You got 1 for setting up the integral. And then you got 1 for adding them together. If you put the equation name here, that's fine. And if you put 5 here instead of x of 0, that's also fine. Okay, so 3 points in part C. So far we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Always out of 9. That means part D is worth 3 points. Okay, this one potentially was a little bit trickier. If they want to know when it's farthest to the right, what are they really asking you for? Maximum of what? A maximum position, right? Okay, if they want your particle to be farthest to the right, they want your position to be as big as possible. So they're asking you for a maximum. Now question, did they say relative maximum? Then they mean absolute. So unless they say relative, absolute is implied. Now, what is the interval that we're looking at? Only from 0 to root 5 pi. Look at your equation. How many relative maxes are there? 2. One of them here, where it passes from positive to negative, and then one of them here. So if you haven't already found those, I'm going to label this one A and this one B. Okay, you need to go and find those right now. If you don't know how to do it, second trace. You're picking the second option, which is 0. And then make sure you're finding those 2, not all of them. You only care about the ones that are maxes. We know the mins don't need to be in the table. So I have my graph right here, second trace, going down to option 0. Okay, yep, between 1 and 2, it's 1.7724. Okay, I'm going to write that down right here. T equals 1.7724, and, okay, then back to my calculator, I want the 0 over here. Okay, I can see that that's 1, 2, 3, so I'll go maybe 2.5 to 3.5. Oh, I picked too many. Second trace, 0, we'll go 2.5, 3.2. Okay, or you can just clickety-click around and make sure you get on either side of it. So 3.0699, yeah? Now, you have to, this is where, keep in mind, it's a writing test. So, why did I pick these two values? You have to explain that. Okay, these are relative maxes. Occur because V of t changes positive to negative. Okay? So if you found those 2 points, you have one of your points, but that justifies it as a relative max. How do you prove that it's an absolute max? There are 2 ways. If there's only one sign change, you can just say that. There's only one, it has to win, it's the absolute. If there's multiple, you have to make a candidate's chart. What go in the chart? Okay, my critical points, so 1.7724 and 3.0699. And then what else? 2 other values. 0 and root 5 pi. Okay, now in order for this table to count as my justification, I have to label it. So I'm finding the time on the left side and the position on the right side. Which position do you already know? 0. At 0, what's the position? 5. Huh? So you would get partial credit for finding the x values. The problem is there's 2 and we want the maximum, not several maximums. So from here, I'm going to set up how I'm going to find the first one, but you're going to do it in the calculator. So if I want the value here, it's a version b, which you already did. Okay, it'd be 5 plus the integral from 0 to 1.7724 v of t. And if you set it up on one, you don't have to set it up for every single one. You can even copy it in the calculator and just change that endpoint. So watch. Okay, I'm going to do, actually I already have it right here, so look, I'm just going to scroll up here, push enter, and then I'm going to change my y value. I want that to be 1.7724. That's going to tell me the position at that value. So it's 5.8948. 5.8948. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, highlight it, push enter, and I'm going to change my decimal. Now I want it to be 30699. Okay, so that one's 5.788. And then the last one that I have to choose, I'm going to highlight it one more time and then change that endpoint to be root 5 pi. Like that. And then out of those values, I'm going to pick the maximum position. So 5.7524. So out of those choices, which one is the absolute max? Okay, and then remember when you phrase it, you should say the absolute max position is 5.8948. It occurs at t equals 1.7724. Okay? So the max position is this one. It occurs at that value. Okay? Make sense? Okay, good. All right, so you are now turning to the traffic problem. Traffic problem. I think it's like the second to last, maybe. Says like traffic flow or something at the top. Okay, so this is another calculator one. Go ahead and type it in. then use your calculator and your table to adjust your y values. You say y do or y do not? Because 3 is not a. So it's like you could put 3 in the table, but you just know it's not because there's not a sign change there. So it wouldn't be wrong to include it, but they just picked 3 kind of as like a random number. Now most of the time, when they have you find the division of 3, usually it's bigger than this. In this case, they ended up picking values that you actually But remember, in your table, you only have to put the endpoints and then the critical numbers of the type that you want. So if you're looking for max, you put relative max. If you're looking for min, put relative min. Did y'all get the same thing from me on the last one? Yeah.
I didn't read anything. I read that and I saw this one. Figured it out. Not gonna need it in line.
All the other ones came out right except this one? I'm going to look at it next to mine. Brendan, I have no idea. That is so weird. I just checked that. Oh, duh, thanks. You still have your absolute value around it. That's why. You should have taken it off for all of them. I think probably what happened, if you look at your graph, is that for these first ones, you didn't have these negative area pockets. And so the reason yours came out to 7 is because it was adding these chunks instead of subtracting them. Okay. What are we doing this? Perfect. Yep. And then it says rounded. And then what are your hints on that? What's up here? Cars per minute. And what do you want? How many cars? That's an integral. Because you have cars per minute and you only want the number of cars. I love that you winged it perfectly. Perfectly. Yep. And what? How do you know? What is this in?
Well, it's because that's
Cars per minute. And you want how many? Well, you want how many cars? So if it's cars per minute to cars, that's an integral.
Wait, so you set up like this?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
You put it in the calculator?
Uh-huh. You got it. Okay, now question. For my window, I know I'm going 0 to 30 here. How can I, do y'all remember how to check what you should pick for your Y's? Look at the table. And just scan through and see where your numbers are close to. So if I second table it here, I'm in the 80s. Okay, it looks like I go down from 80. So I'm just scanning through my table. I'm going to make my Y's maybe like negative 50 to 100. Okay, and you're just kind of guesstimating to try and have the whole graph in your window. Okay, so I could have zoomed in even more and been fine. Okay, so for, did you go 0 to 30? You went 0 to 30. Hi. Thank you. he actually went to the nurse. He may have gone home.
Great.
Sorry. Huh? Yeah. Okay, for part A, what should you have done? Integral, very good. So integrate where to where? 0 to 30. And then you can write f of t, or you can list the equation out. So I'm going to do it in the calculator here. Second trace, pick the integral option. You also could have used math 9. 0 to 30, it'll shade it in for me. Okay, all the cars are passing through. The area is 2474. 0.0775. I did second trace, and then the integral, number 7. And then you have to type in. Yeah, so then in my next step, it says to the nearest whole number. So I would say that's approximately 2474 cars. Okay? Now, on the actual question, I can't remember if I looked at the answer key, but I think you just got 1 point, maybe 2 for setting it up. But what do you need to do in the next one? Okay, are you plugging it in? Okay, think about, you are not plugging it in, this is why. They're asking you, so what is this a graph of? This is traffic flow. What are they asking you? If traffic flow is increasing or decreasing, what do I need to take? Derivative, the slope, very good. Okay, and you want the derivative where at? 7. So you do f prime of 7 equals. Okay, and so you want to look for those keywords. If I want traffic flow increasing or decreasing, then I need the derivative of that. So take it in your calculator and see if it comes out positive or negative. Yes, ma'am. If it was asking how many cars per minute were traveling through the intersection. Yep. And you would think about your units, right? But if I want traffic flow to be increasing, traffic flow is already in cars per minute. So if I want to know if it's increasing or decreasing, I need cars per minute squared. Okay, anybody got it? Okay, perfect. Negative 1.8729. Then it says, give a reason for your answer. What is my answer? Traffic flow is decreasing because f prime of 7 less than 0. That would have been perfect. Okay? My y values that I did were negative 50 to 100. And I just looked at the table and saw they were in the 80s and kind of just randomly picked. Now, I just looked up the answer key. Here are where your points come from. You got 3 points in part A. 1 for having the integral.
3 points?
Yeah. You got 1 for putting f of t in the middle, and then 1 for the answer rounded. So if you didn't put this decimal, they wouldn't have cared. Okay, then in part B, you only got 1 point. You should have just said that since it's negative, it's decreasing. So this one was only worth 1 point. Okay, C and D both say average. You have 2 formulas for average. Average y value and average rate of change. So read through both of them, figure out which one's which. One of them's AROC and one of them's average value.
Your listen says it's 0.
Okay, so then you know which one that one is, right? Well, no, you just said AROC is this one. So that one's average. And then remember which formula is which. Okay, so here's the difference. This one is saying is the water increasing. This one says is the traffic flow. This is already a rate. So it's asking is the rate increasing or decreasing. Versus this one, what do I have up here? These are rates of water, right? And they're asking about the change in that make sense? So it is like a subtlety that you have to kind of look at. If they're asking if the rate's increasing, you need to take the control. And traffic flow is already a rate on its own. Versus this one, we're talking about if the water's changing. That's not a rate already. And then these are. That's why these are just. Okay. You're welcome. Do you have your hand up? No? That's perfect. Wait, except it should be. Oh, no, that's right there. Okay, part C, you get 3 points. What should you have set up? 1 over 15 minus 10, or you could have abbreviated it to 5, that's fine. Then 10 to 15, and then f of t dt. If you want to write out the whole function, that's totally fine. It came out to 81.899. Okay, part D, average rate of change. You should have done f of 15 minus f of 10 over 15 minus 10. I'm going to go back and put them at the end. Thank you for bringing that up, though. Okay, so f of 15 minus f of 10. Okay? Then from there, remember, you can type that in. I'm seeing if I still have it in mind, but you can type it in as like a whole fraction, like this. So you can do like open the fraction, just bum, 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 put everything in there. So it comes out to be 1.517. Okay? Now, I want you to go back if you haven't already. It says indicate units of measure on both of those parts. So you had to get the units correct in both to get the point on the AP test. It says units in part C and D. So what would your units be in part C if it's average value? Still cars per minute, good. And then what about for average rate of change? Cars per minute squared, good job. So what I did, I don't know how to get out of this. I scrolled up forever. Do I just have to keep scrolling down? Is there a shortcut to this? Oh, duh. What I did was alpha y equals, I opened my fraction. And then I did alpha window, picked y1, or not alpha window, alpha trace, parentheses 15. Minus alpha trace, y1 at 10, and then over 15 minus 10. Like that.
So it wouldn't work if I didn't put the equation in?
Correct. It wouldn't work if you didn't have it in your y1. Just like that. Nope.
So I just typed 15?
Uh-huh. Do parentheses 15 and it'll plug it in for you. Okay, there's one more that we're going to try to do today. And it is... we did the one off your homework. It was something. 1.5. 1.517. Okay, so with second period, I did the FRQ off of your homework 3. So I put it online if you want to go back and watch it. But for you guys, I'm going to do question 2 so that like there's 2 online in case you need help. So I would like for you to get out homework 3. And we're going to work through this one right here. Okay? Okay, and then tomorrow we'll finish up in this packet that you already have, so don't throw it away. You're close to getting to burn all your papers, but not yet, yes.
So we turn everything Wednesday, like the day after exams?
If you're testing, you can bring it that afternoon if you want to drop it off, or you can turn it in Wednesday and it won't be late. But it's really, all you should be turning in are homeworks 1, 2, 3. Everything else should already be, it's just notes and stuff. Okay, then also, homework 3. Okay, you might not care about this, but no, the homeworks are for a grade. They're 3 quiz grades, and they're due on Tuesday. Okay, what we're going to do, if you want to come, okay, on Saturday, we're going to do a little study party. Okay, so it's not really a party, But if you want to go to Twisted Root at 11, okay, you can bring your homework and whatever questions you have, I'll be there. I'll count it as your, if you didn't do a study session, I'll count it as both of them, as long as you stay for a while. Okay, are any of you going to come? We might. Okay, it's the one on Campbell. It's not an AP Saturday, but some people still had a bunch of questions on homework, and so I said I'd come. I'll just eat my burger alone. Probably me and Kevin Trujillo, so come so that it's not just us. Okay? You will get extra credit if you show up, but you need to bring your homeworks. Okay? Oh, he'll be there. I have him, so I'll probably bring Harry Potter. Huh? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's the only way you'll come. Then I'll text you that and trick you.
Yeah, if you're actually alone, like I'll pull up.
Yeah, you'll pull up. Thank you. Sure, I will. Yeah, half our class is gone, so I guess I need to do that anyway. Saturday, if you want to, just for fun. Okay, that's okay. All right, ready? Okay, homework 3, you're turning to an intersection at Thomasville, Oregon. Now look, this one, they're so nice, they gave you a graph. So go ahead and type it in. Try and do parts A and B. A and B you should be able to do. C is the one that I'm going to help y'all with. But A and B, we just did one about traffic, cars per minute, kind of the same situation.
How did they get the sign from square?
Oh, we reviewed that yesterday. You need to do this. It's 60 square root t and then sine of x over 3 squared. You can't put it the way that they wrote it in the calculator. You have to group and square separately.